All right, I've completed my cowl, and I'm going to show you a couple tips for weaving in ends. And you can see that the floats look good. You can see this is where I carried my yarn up, and that's okay. And let's look at where those are trapped. Right here they are. You can see the little V's that occurred right there, and that is the trapping. So let's talk about how to weave in ends. There's different ways. I'm just going to show you the way that I like to weave in an end. Show you this one that's in the middle first. I like to use a sharp needle, and then to thread your needle with a yarn, you put it over the eye of the needle. You pinch. These are sharps. There's other blunt end darning needles in a way you can do it that way. Sorry, but you pinch, you pull it out. You don't peek, because if you peek, it opens up the yarn and then it threads through like that. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a nice place to put this in. So I like to split my fibers just a smidge. So I'm taking little bites of the white so that I don't go too deep, so that it would show on the other side. Little bites of the white yarn. And I only go, as you can see, about an inch. Some people go really long. You just really don't need to do that. That's just adding bulk. And you're going to pull that through. And then sometimes I give it a pull back. And then I'm going to come back through, and I'm going to go kind of up, over and under again, right through that yarn that I wove in. And in wool, that will kind of felt together. And then I'll pull it out and give it a tug. Then I do give it a pull back, and then I snip it off pretty darn close using these cute little scissors we have here at the shop. Cut it off close, and we're good to go. All right, now let's look at the top and the beginning and the end. So here is our beginning, and you can see that that's even across the top. Sometimes you might be tempted to weave it in this way, which works. But then if that end pops, which sometimes they do, then it's here at the top. So I always like to weave mine right down. I embed it right down along here. So again, we're going to thread our yarn, put it over, pinch it, don't peek, because if you peek, it opens it up and then you can't get it in. Just peek a little. Okay, and then I'm going to go down instead of along the edge. And again, I'm just going to bury it right along this area, right here. Just about, again, an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Pull it, give it a tug, pull it back. Come back through where you were. And I'm going to stop a little bit short because I don't want a little tag of yarn hanging out. And again, I cut them close. All right, one more. Now at the end, when we knit, it knits like a barber pole. So it spirals. So you can see that when you finish, this is high, and then it's always kind of like, well, what do I do with that? Let's look at it from the front. What do I do with that? I'm going to show you. So I like to leave a nice long tail. I'm going to thread the needle again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate. So I'll come in here underneath the V of my first stitch. And that creates kind of a V coming that way. Then I'm going to come back and create a V this way. And I'll come under. And there was kind of a lot of, I'm sorry if it was a little blurry. Just make it look as best you can. This piece had kind of a big piece to it. And so your weaving in is a way to kind of clean things up. But see how we balance that out? I'm going to come back over here, and I'm just going to grab, come back this way, and then I'm going to kind of go down in, it's just kind of a little bubble. And sometimes that just happens. Sorry if you can't see it specifically, but, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to weave it down here, just like I did the other one. Down. And see how I kind of pulled that little bump down, and I made my circle look like it was all going at the same height. And then I'm going to come back up and give it a pull through, a little bit short of the top, pull it back, and give it a snip. So once you've woven in your ends, now it's going to be time to do the steam blocking. And we're going to take a look at that next. As you may have heard me just talk, I always like to steam block my projects, unless they're super big and I can't do it easily. But I always start with steam. And here's our blocked cowl and our unblocked cowl. So you can see how beautiful the steam makes these stitches behave. And so there's going to be some puckery and some uneven stitches. I think you'll be really amazed to see what happens once we get the steam. We also have been talking about indie dyed yarns and the importance of using steam, and especially when we've got some white with this red. And we'll want to kind of watch that as we steam it. Again, Jessica and all independent dyers are working out of small workshops. And so therefore, they don't have the big steamers or the big amount of water to rinse. They do a really, really good job. But there's nothing worse than being disappointed with your project. So you need to just pay attention to it. You could throw this in the water. I won't be doing any wet blocking of these projects this season if you wanted to. And if you do that, you've got to watch it. So you got to watch the water to make sure that you're not getting a pink look that might then turn your white here to pink. So let's take a look at what a steam will do to this. All right, I just use an iron. I don't use a steamer. I use a steam setting. I don't use the wet. I don't touch. I simply start steaming. See if we fog the camera up. And then I like to use my hand. I'm going to do half of this so that you can see the difference between the two. Really, really, steam is just... And I use my hands to press it down. Now look at the difference between the two sides. This is flattened and looks really nice compared to this side that's still puckery. So let's finish. This is an iron I use for quilting. It's cordless. Just any iron works. You can see that I get pretty darn close. Losing my steam. I'm going to have to put it back on and get it steamed up. So we'll do that and get a little more steam going, and then we'll finish up. Really give it a good steam. Got some good steam now coming out of it. And what you will do is you need to rotate it, because see, you start to get a little line. And so I just continue I work around the cowl several times. You want to give the edges a nice little steam as well. Sorry if we're fogging up the camera. Then you'll rotate it again and keep working it. Now the question bears, when I wear this and I want to wash it, it absolutely can be washed by hand. The steaming even helps set the colors as well. And again, you would just hand wash it and pay attention and not leave it in the water very long. We like to use the Eucalyptus or the no rinse to wash your woolens. So again, steaming is the answer. Look how beautiful it looks compared to how we started. Now you can enjoy and wear your cowl with pride.